Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm a reader at heart. I wanted today to talk about my TBR jar. So I am one of those people who I hate being told what to do. And that includes from myself. Like I can't read books when I list them out for myself and I'm like this planning stuff out for the month, like this is the book that I'm going to read. It never works. I never read that book and I always read something else. So instead of making a TBR list or anything like that, I have a TBR jar, and in here I have little prompts. They're not book titles because I still wouldn't read the book even if I picked it from this jar. They're actually like suggestions. So one might be like read a classic or read a book set in the city that you're in right now, stuff like that. So they're little hints to help me find a book to read when I don't know what I want, but they're not explicit directions of read this book right now. So I haven't looked through this jar since I made it, probably in like March of this year, 2022. So let's switch to a top down and we'll go through this and then do some updating, because I think that there might be some doubles in here and there are a couple that I don't have in here that I want to include. Hello, welcome to my top down setup. It's very fancy, it's very professional. Okay, so here's my TBR jar. You can tell because it's got TBR jar written on. You can tell I literally don't use it. Did you hear that suction? Oh my. Okay. Let's get all of these out first. And then we'll get to creating the new ones. Okay, let's take a look at all of these. Oh, they're small. Okay, read a new classic. This means one that I haven't read before. Dickens, Bronte, Shakespeare, etc. A classic you haven't read before. Wow. So hang on, actually, we'll put this in like a classic section because I don't want to put ones that I've already done. I don't want to make more for a TBR suggestion that I already have. This one is read one short story or a collection of short stories, so we'll put that in small. Nonfiction about nature or set in nature. Oh, I like that. We'll put that in nonfiction. Nonfiction, biography, history, something. I like that one also. I really don't read nonfiction and I wish that I did, so I think that this might help. Continue a series you started before. We'll put this in series. My organization is fab. It's just little piles. Begin a new series. That goes in series also. True crime novel. That would probably be in nonfiction. A dragon book. I'm obsessed with dragons, so this would be perfect. Dragon on the cover. I don't think I have anything for this, so we'll put that in fantasy. That's going to be my fantasy pile. Mystery set in the woods or forest. Ooh, that one would be really good. I think that's my mystery pile. Fantasy set in a different world. Fantasy pile. I need to start separating these. Finish a book you started but never got around to finishing. This one I probably need 5 of because there are so many books that I haven't finished. I don't know where to put this one, so I'm just going to put it over there. History I'm unfamiliar with, so maybe a different country's history. Reddit recommended, so there's the subreddit books that feel like, and I love that. So I would have to go on the subreddit and it'd be the first photo and the first book that's suggested for that. So we'll put that here because these are just random suggestions. Anti-racist book, How to Be an Ally. I like that. That goes in nonfiction. Indie published author or publisher. I'm a big supporter of IndiePub because I work for Fractured Mirror. Shameless plug. Okay, that I don't have a place for, so it's just going to go in a separate pile. Witchy fiction novel. I don't know, maybe fantasy, I guess. A Preston and Child novel. Oh wait, this isn't fantasy. This is mystery. Yeah. Where's my fantasy pile? Here. This is a game of memory in addition to a sorting game. Okay, The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I don't think that I want book suggestions, so I'm going to take that one out, actually. Written by an Indigenous author, fiction or nonfiction. I think that's going to go up in suggestions. Actually, is this the Indie Pub one? Yeah. We'll put that in those together. Oh my gosh, I actually have a lot. I wasn't expecting to have this much. Spooky thriller or horror by diverse authors. And I don't really have a place for that because I don't really read spooky books. So I'm just going to put it up in the random pile again. A book you could finish in a day, a novella. I like that because I am all about instant gratification. Aren't we all? So this is random ones. Okay, here, these two can go together. Something you own on Kobo. Recommendation from my grandma. She is my book dealer. I started reading because of her. She was a librarian. So anything that she suggests, she sends me, we email back and forth every day. And I get a lot of book suggestions from her. So I'll screenshot and then add them to my list of books to read. And also I could just call her up and say, what book should I read? And she'll tell me or ask what book she's reading. Okay, set in the season that I'm in or gives the vibe of that season. I like that one too. There's a winter book that I am interested in reading but have yet to really get to. The dustiest book on my shelf. That means it's the loneliest and saddest, which is fine. I'm actually going to do a challenge this year. You guys will see. Well, next year, actually. Mobster Mafia book. I think that would be in nonfiction because I'd like to read, like, actual history of stuff like that. Recommendation from my uncle. He's also a big reader. Romance. This doesn't have its own section yet. I'm trying to get more into romance. I really like paranormal romances. Standalone novel, that'll go in here. I really don't read those. I usually read a lot of series books. Witchy nonfiction book. So that'd be like a book about tarot or something. Read a book that reminds you of a show or movie you just watched. I really like this suggestion. Look at me complimenting myself. I guess I'll put that up here. A translated book, so a book not originally in English. I'm actually doing this right now because I'm reading the Witcher series. And I think that it was originally published in Polish or something. Read a fantasy noir mystery novel. So that's tough. I'm just going to put that in the middle because that's 2. Our pile is dwindling. We've got 5 left. Nonfiction book set in the U.S. Collection of poems or one long poem. That goes in, I guess, nonfiction. I really don't read a lot of poetry, but I've been trying to get into it more. The Hidden Life of Trees. I'm going to take that one out because that's another book suggestion. A book published in 1997. That's when I was born. We'll put that up here. Reread something comforting. I love having rereads, so I'm going to put this somewhere else. Okay. Already, I have a couple ideas for stuff to read. So, first of all, I had read a book a nonfiction book set in the U.S. I don't have one that's set outside of the U.S., so I need to do that. So let me just write them down actually first, and then I'll go about cutting. And then I want like a world history. Okay, so we've got world or ancient history. Something that I've been loving lately is the subreddit of, I think it's called Cozy Fantasy. And I'm all about cozy mystery books, so I think cozy fantasy is amazing too. I'm gonna put both of those. Okay, what else? Is there anything else that I want to read or suggest to myself? I feel like I've got a pretty good range right now. I might just leave these as is. Ooh, do you see that? Look at how good I am. Didn't think I was gonna be able to do that actually. Most of the time I just rip the pages in half, like not the way I want to. Okay, so I've added 4 more. How many do I have? Okay, we'll count them as I put them in. I think I fold them like this. Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to organize these ones because I don't think they need to be organized because they're all going back in the jar. And I'd like to have the jar a little bit mixed up. So, a quick little update. I finished the second audiobook of The Witcher. I think it's called Sword of Destiny. And I am already like 40% of the way into the 3rd book. I also just thought of another one. So I want to read, this year I read a classic. I think it is considered a classic in Australia. And I can't remember the name of the book right now, but I will put it on screen when I remember it. But it really got me thinking that I have only read classics, like classics, from the US and from Britain and the UK because that was what my English classes consisted of pretty much. So I think that I'm going to put in read a classic from another country, and then I'm going to put like bonus points if it's a translated book also. The thing that I really like about this TBR jar is that I don't have to take the suggestions out when I use them because they don't have a book title on them. So once I pick from the jar, I can just throw it right back in and reuse it, and it never dwindles, and I don't have to come up with new book titles, and it never gets out of date, because that's something that would happen is I would make a list at the beginning of the year for books that I wanted to read this year or like the coming year, and it would always kind of become outdated a little bit because there would be so many new books published. I have one more slot. I might leave this one blank and we'll see if I come up with anything. So let's count as we throw them in. I'm going to mix these up so that they're nice and not bunched together by category. Somebody's interested. I didn't mean to distract you from the birds, Beanie. Okay, so let's count. 43. So that's it. I have 43 book suggestions. Not book suggestions, but reading prompts that I can use whenever I'm in the mood for something but don't really know what I want to read. So yeah, thanks for coming along and being with me for this, and I'll see you guys later. Hi, do you want to read also? Also, thanks for watching. I don't think I said that before, but yeah, thanks. Okay, bye.